Hello and welcome to Breezy Chatter. Today I'm going to be talking about the bold and the beautiful. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of those who have subscribed to my channel. So I'm going to be talking about Ridge and Taylor, Steffi and Thomas, and Douglas. So it looks like Taylor is still going down memory lane and telling Ridge that they really did have some wonderful times together. And while Ridge is comforting Taylor, he seems quite uncomfortable with the conversation that they're having. And while they're hugging, Thomas and Steffi happen to open the door and see them. And instead of coming in, they decide to give them some time. But it's not too long before they go inside and they interrupt the conversation that was going on between Taylor and Ridge. And of course, Steffi doesn't waste a moment. She starts telling Ridge that he should be with Mom and he shouldn't be with Brooke because Brooke is always bringing some sort of drama or trouble into their lives. Taylor's quite embarrassed by the whole situation that's happening. She tells Steffi, stop trying to encourage a relationship between the two of them. And Ridge, he gets a little frustrated because everyone's talking about what he needs, but no one's asking him how he feels. He tells them, what I need is for everyone to accept that I believe that my marriage is going to work out with Brooke. And Thomas sort of tells Steffi later on that he accepts that his dad is going to be with Brooke and that she should do the same. But Steffi, she's still holding out hope that maybe one day soon her parents will be back together. So Ridge is home and he's checking on Brooke and he's still really concerned because she just hasn't been herself. So while Ridge is talking to Brooke, Steffi enters the house and she can see that something's wrong and she does ask, what's going on? And Ridge, he's very defensive of Brooke and he's telling Steffi that nothing's wrong and that they were talking about maybe going out or doing something. And he wanted to know why Steffi was there. And Steffi said, I'm here to pick you up because remember, you're supposed to be having dinner at my place. And Ridge's first reaction is to flake because he does not want to leave his wife alone for too long. But Brooke tells Ridge to go, it's fine, and she will see him later. So Ridge reluctantly heads for the door. And while he's at the door waiting for Steffi gives Brooke a once-over, and she gives her the stank eye. I said, wow, look at the way Steffi is looking at Brooke. So Ridge, Thomas, Douglas, and Steffi are all at Steffi's place. It turns out that Taylor cannot make it for dinner because she is caught up with work. Brooke is freaking out because she knows that Douglas is with Ridge, Thomas, Steffi, and possibly Taylor, and she's wondering if Douglas is going to tell them what he saw and if they will be able to put two and two together. And Douglas does exactly what Brooke is fearing. He tells everyone that he saw Grandma Brooke kissing Santa. And he explained how he snuck out to get his stuffed bunny, and that's when he saw Grandma Brooke kissing Santa. And Ridge is listening to him, and everyone's sort of trying to understand him, but it just doesn't make sense to them. They think that he's maybe getting things confused. Ridge tells Douglas that Grandma Brooke would only be kissing him. And Douglas says, well, maybe she was thanking Santa for all of the presents. So they don't really take what Douglas is saying seriously. In an effort to calm Brooke down, Hope calls Thomas and she requests that Douglas be brought home because there's some things that they need to address. And Thomas, of course, he takes Douglas home. And that's where they learn that Douglas did tell everyone at Steffi's place what he saw, but that they didn't believe him. So Douglas and Brooke have a talk, and Brooke sort of tells Douglas that it's best that he stop telling people what he saw. Let's leave the past in the past, and let's look towards the future. So Douglas agrees not to talk about what he saw anymore. But although he agrees to do that, it's still heavy on his mind. So later on, we have Thomas and Douglas at Steffi's place, and they are bird watching. And Douglas is looking out the window, and he tells his dad that he sees a bald eagle. So Thomas goes running to take a look at it, and it turns out it's a seagull. So Steffi is teasing Douglas, and she's telling him that he's going to need some glasses because today he thought he saw a bald eagle, and earlier he was saying that he saw Grandma Brooke kissing Santa. And Douglas has an uneasy look on his face, and they notice, and they ask him if he's okay. And he doesn't want to bring up what he saw because he promised Grandma Brooke that he would not talk about it anymore. So what happens is Steffi realizes that Kelly's awake. And in an effort to avoid talking about Grandma Brooke, Douglas tells Steffi he'd like to go play with Kelly. So he manages to avoid the conversation. But Thomas knows that something is not right with Douglas. He's noticing that one minute he seems to be concerned about something or something seems to be bothering him, and then the next minute he's his usual self. And he said he's going to talk to his mom about it. He's going to see if Taylor can get to the bottom of what's going on with Douglas. So Douglas comes out a little bit later and he tells Steffi that Kelly's having a hair malfunction and she needs some help. So Steffi leaves the room, and that gives Thomas and Douglas some time to talk. So Thomas is really concerned now about Douglas, and Douglas sits down and Thomas sits in front of him and he says, "You know, we didn't finish our conversation earlier about you seeing Grandma kissing Santa Claus." And Douglas says, "Yeah, but I'm not supposed to talk about that anymore. Grandma Brooke says that's in the past." So Thomas probes even further and he says to Douglas, "I'm going to guess that it was Grandpa Ridge that you saw kissing Grandma Brooke because it's Christmas Eve and Santa, he's busy. He doesn't have time for kisses." And Douglas tells his dad it wasn't Christmas Eve, it was New Year's Eve. And I think Thomas, he's very perceptive. And once Douglas said it was New Year's, I think Thomas knew exactly what his son saw, which is why he said, "Well, you know what? Maybe it was one of Santa's helpers that you saw." Because he knows that his dad didn't make it back home in time to spend New Year's with Brooke. So he does ask Douglas, "Did you see his face?" And of course, Douglas starts to think, and he says, "It was Mommy's dad." And Thomas says to Douglas, "Was it Deacon?" Grandma Brooke was kissing Deacon. Douglas becomes really overwhelmed and worried, and he just hugs his father. And Thomas soothes him and he says, "It's okay." And of course, the thoughts are running through Thomas's mind, which leads me to wonder, what is Thomas going to do with this new information? Is he going to tell Steffi? Is he going to tell his father? Is he going to tell Taylor? Or is he going to go rushing to Hope in anger for putting Douglas in such a bad position? Will Thomas keep this secret at Hope's request? Because we all know just how loyal Thomas is to Hope. And we also know that Thomas despises Brooke. Will Brooke and Thomas have a conversation? We will have to wait to find out just what happens now that Thomas knows that Brooke was kissing Deacon. Well, that is my commentary. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, and leave comments. Thank you for your time. Until next time, ta-ta.